What is time? It's something we take for granted, always moving forward, constantly present, and yet the most advanced theories of physics are starting to suggest that maybe time, as we experience it, is nothing more than an illusion. Today we'll explore some of the most surprising ideas about time, from Einstein's theory of relativity, which suggests that time gets distorted depending on our speed and gravity, to the radical concept of the block universe, which suggests that the past, present, and future exist simultaneously in a single, static structure. We'll also analyze how our perception of time might be limited by our consciousness, and how what we consider linearity might simply be a construct of our minds, an illusion created by the limitations of our perception. Before we begin, if you're intrigued to discover the mysteries hidden within our universe, don't forget to subscribe to Reality Shift and like this video to join our exploration of reality's deepest secrets. Let's go. For centuries, we understood time in a simple way, something that constantly moves forward, no matter what happens around us. However, at the beginning of the 20th century, Einstein completely changed our view of time with his theory of relativity. According to Einstein, time is not absolute. Instead, it depends on the speed at which you're moving and the gravity you experience. This means that time flows differently depending on your position in space-time. In other words, time is not universal and constant. An astronaut traveling near the speed of light would experience time differently than someone on Earth. In fact, this phenomenon has already been demonstrated in experiments with atomic clocks. But the most intriguing thing happens near extremely massive objects, like black holes. Here, according to the general theory of relativity, space, and time curve, events that occur near a black hole can be perceived completely differently by a distant observer, creating what is known as time dilation. This leads us to the question, is time a characteristic of the universe itself, or is it something that depends on our perception? If time can be distorted by gravity and speed, is it possible that there's an objective time that we simply cannot perceive? This is where a truly revolutionary idea comes in, the block universe view. According to this theory, the past, present, and future already exist in a fixed way in space-time. Imagine that time is not something that flows, but rather something static, like a movie that has already been recorded. In the block universe, all events are already predetermined. It's just that we, as conscious beings, only perceive a small part of this block, what we call the present. The philosopher and physicist, Hermann Minkowski, was one of the first to propose that time and space are inseparable parts of a single entity, space-time. According to this view, the human perception of a flow of time is just a construct of our minds. In this block universe, the past, present, and future exist simultaneously. It's just that our consciousness experiences them in sequence. Some theorists suggest that if the future already exists, the decisions we make might not be as free as we think. Physicist David Deutsch has proposed that if everything in space-time is already determined, our choices might just be a way in which we read the events that are already written in the block. In this view, our consciousness moves through time, but in a way that is limited to a pre-existing structure. There is no real choice, only discovery. But this doesn't mean we're trapped in a prison of fate. Perhaps the perception of free will is just an illusion that allows us to experience the flow of events without having access to the full truth of the block universe. If time in reality doesn't flow, why do we perceive it this way? Our perception of time as something linear is a characteristic of human consciousness. Although physics suggests that time might be static and everything might exist simultaneously, we are limited by our minds and our sensory capacity. It's possible that we experience time sequentially because of how the brain processes information. Our consciousness is configured to perceive a continuous story, a narrative that has a beginning, a development, and an end. Is this a limitation of our perception? Perhaps human consciousness is trapped in a time interval without access to the entirety of the block, but with the sensation that time is something fluid, while in reality, it is nothing more than an illusion of our brain. Time remains one of the deepest mysteries of the universe. From the theory of relativity to the block universe view, scientists are suggesting that our experience of time is only a small fragment of the much more complex reality that surrounds us. Is time an illusion created by our consciousness, or is there a real static time waiting to be discovered? The truth is that the answer might be beyond our ability to fully understand it. But, just like the simulation of our reality, perhaps time is just another phenomenon created by the rules of a universe much larger and more complex than we imagine. What do you think about the nature of time? Do you think there's something beyond the way we perceive it? Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to Reality Shift for more explorations on the mysteries of the universe. See you next time.